because this is probably the greatest question we've ever received.
Oh, wow.
I almost want... Do I want Benji to read this? Do I hate him that much?
Wait,
What?
I just read one.
I'm really tempted to read it now.
Ryan?
Benji, he
He'll
said he
totally
didn't want
send
to.
that to Ryan.
Like, I don't want
Give
to
it to
take that from Benji, but
No,
he said he didn't
Benji's
want to.
he's too
No,
kind. He's
yeah.
too
Too
good.
nice or something? Is that
Ryan, you have to read this question.
Oh, I remember this. You did. This was in your newsletter.
Yes, it was.
Well, now I wish Benji was reading it. I'm a 16-year-old boy, and I want to see and touch a vagina for the first time. What can I do to do that? I love the redundancy. What can I do to do that? Like, this is my goal. How can I accomplish it? That just
Jake's thinking of building a cyborg vagina that every 16-year-old boy would be able to touch.
No, it'll already be in your hand.
Well,
so you're
for
already
like sex
touching
ed
it.
class, like sex ed class would be infinitely better if they just like stopped using fake bad looking prosthetics. Like, I agree with that, but say your rational thing now.
What I said was that, it's vaginas are attached to people, so you don't get to just in a bubble touch a vagina. Like, there's a
Very
whole
true.
So advice to boys who want to touch a vagina. Ladies, are you okay, Sarah?
He's gonna fall over.
It's just interesting for us to hear how the male mind really works. We're like, really? That's what you wake up thinking? Okay.
Pointing out that this
Good
is
to
not the
know.
male mind, this is a male mind.
This is one.
Thank you again, Jake, with his
Thank you, Jake.
viewer discretion is advised.
There you go.
Thank you. All right, so let's say that on your bucket list, things to do, or your to-do list is, all right, get my homework done, call grandma, touch a vagina. Let's say that's on your
Don't call your grandma first.
And don't share it with her. Just have those two things be totally separate.
How do you accomplish
Oh,
this
wow.
goal and still
Thank you
be
for that.
considered a reasonable person
You meet someone
not
who
in
wants you to
prison?
touch their vagina.
What?
You meet someone who wants you to touch their vagina.
They're pretty
Thank
logical.
you, Ryan. So go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, that was
I
it.
feel like,
I don't.
but back up a few steps. You already know a person.
You just kind of
and
you wait and you talk to them and you get to know them in the same way you proceed to do anything with someone that takes a certain level of intimacy, whether it's have a deep conversation or have sex with them or
And then you
whatever
just
you want
ask
to do
them.
with their. Well, I don't think you just may I touch your vagina, but like you kind of get to that point, maybe phrase it like that. But yeah, I mean, you just make sure
Why
you're both on
not?
the same page. I mean, you could
Why
if you wanted
not?
to. Yeah, if that's what in Jake's words,
Be
if that's
blunt.
what you want to do it.
Well, that's if that's what you want to do, and it's a rational decision that won't put you in harm's way, or other infinite number of conditionals do it.
Well, I think let's suppose that this person is 16 and hasn't dated yet. All of the sexual thoughts that any 16-year-old has, you have before you have any idea of how to even speak to a girl. So you see this like giant. No, you like you're on Mountain A, and there's like this big like.
You're not. You need to say the word before we all keep filling it in
Yeah.
for you.
There's a
And
big
it's just
river.
vagina every
There's
time.
a raging river, and you
No,
have to
it's-
cross that river to have enough emotional intimacy with someone to where you'd be invited to touch said vagina, and it doesn't feel doable because you've never really had a conversation with a girl. Because 16 is like where that starts to start,
That's
right?
very true. Yeah.
But you start thinking about vaginas when you're 12 or 13. So I can see that by 16 you're like, how the hell does one access a vagina? It just seems insurmountable. Help me out.
Yes, I would like to obtain access.
Sarah, please, I need more girls to talk.
I really don't know what to say. Sarah's
Sarah-
coming.
Sarah's
She's taking
coming.
over.
Sarah,
Sarah, go.
please, Sarah, save us.
First off,
Matt can help us too because he has perspective of a grown-up.
That's not
All
where I
right.
thought you were
All right, Sarah.
First off, let me add. You gave me way too much space between your words. I had to say something. There
Okay,
was
please.
too much space between.
I'm
them.
sorry.
Why is this acting like it's a quest, like Link? To complete your quest, you must touch the very popular, very crowned vagina.
We could make the best video game, right?
I think it would be very R-rated.
What would the main character be? A dildo or a dick?
The main character would just be a 16-year-old boy.
Okay.
just a blob of an adolescent in general. They have like a 6-year-old autistic brother, and then you have to have the whole thing of growing up. Every question we possibly
We could
get.
build up a lot of backstory here, but
That was me trying to calm down Ryan, not saying I have a question.
No, I was referencing an earlier question about adolescence and growing up.
No.
Aaron's here.
Trying
Thank
to censor
God.
us.
Some clarity.
Oh, here comes the cavalry in the form of Aaron.
Hey,
How
there,
do
been a
you
while
touch a
since I've done
vagina?
this.
Aaron?
Where's Keo when you need him? He's just always
Oh,
so
he would
like
have been so good at this
meditative.
one. Yeah.
Hey there. So I want to comment on what you said, actually, Ryan. Yes. Wow, I'm hearing myself. I'm sorry. So I'm going to comment on what you said, which is basically you got to get to know someone. Got to to reach that point in a relationship where you can touch the vagina. Like you need to get to know someone. But here's the thing: if you get to know someone to touch the vagina, you're gonna probably it's not gonna really work out so great.
It's gonna bother
Great
them.
point.
I think I've sparked something, which is what I wanted
You
to do.
just
Jake.
described
Yes.
the worst romantic comedy plot ever, though. Like every romantic comedy is they get together for a dare or for a something from one way or another, and then they actually end up falling in love, and the other person finds out. It's like, oh no, you just described the most uncomfortable romantic comedy plot I've ever heard.
Right, but the reason that it's uncomfortable is because it's so real.
Yeah.
Which is like that's the stupid part about it is that there are many people who are like, well, I got to be your friend, and we got really close, and I still can't touch the vagina. What did I do wrong? So, but okay,
It's not a quest, like Sarah said. It's
Right.
It's not an if then.
right,
You know,
exactly. But like Jake, and I'm specifically pointing this to Jake because I know that you're going to say stuff that I want you to
okay.
say. So,
oh God,
so,
okay. I
so
don't know if
I've said that, right? And that's an important thing. I am friends with this person, and yet I'm still not touching the vagina, right? So
I was nice to her. I took her to McDonald's.
you
Right.
sound so confused.
Doesn't
when
that
you say
come
it.
with vagina?
Like you acted,
Hold
Right.
on, wait.
Louise.
Is my point in this to do the rational thing and say like that's a person, they choose what they do with their body, whatever? What is my point?
Well,
No, you're
okay,
supposed
it's
to say
kind
that
of.
it's a
What are
person
we-
and that sexual intimacy doesn't just it's not just something that comes absent of emotions. It's all part of the same.
Or that it
That-
can. I think what he wants
Some
to say is that it
people
can.
Okay, well here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing is what you said, Wheezy, is correct sometimes, and what you're
Oh.
trying to say is also correct
Oh,
sometimes.
was your point for me to say that like you could meet a person for which their job is to have someone touch their vagina?
No,
Your
that is
job
technically
to-
true as well.
Yeah, I don't know what I was going
Okay,
to say.
so
I'm so
I'm-
down the
that-
rabbit hole.
No,
nonsense
that's
here.
okay. My point is kind of there's no entitlement, right? There's no definitive point where
You
you
are
get
not
to
owed
touch
that.
the vagina.
Got
You are
it.
never
Oh,
owed the
okay.
vagina,
I'm
right?
understanding now.
Exactly. You could be great friends with someone all their lives, all your lives, but if you went in there to touch the vagina and you have not yet done so,
You may never do it.
you may never do, and you have to be okay with that. And then guess what? You've made a friend. Wow.
So we're saying
So-
there's
That's how
no
you think you
one
should make
way.
friends.
There's
Has
no
vagina.
one way. I think is what we're.
There is no one way, and you can't go
What
into a
we're getting
relationship
to.
with that expectation. You can have those conversations, especially as you get to be older than 18, where sexual intimacy is sort of expected after the whatever date or after 3 months of dating or whatever. You get to hope that that's going to be a thing that happens. But she could still be someone that says, not until marriage, or
Yeah.
I'm not interested. She's still a whole person, and you can't say that on a first date. So you may feel like, oh, I've wasted like a whole year of my life. Well, sorry, that's just the way humans behave, and that isn't ever a given unless you go see a prostitute, Jake.
Don't do that.
And don't do that until you're
Also-
18. Or don't do that ever, moms. I don't know.
Oh, I can't.
In certain counties in Nevada,
Prostitution's
it's legal.
illegal in most
No, but in certain
places.
counties in Nevada, you could.
If-
And
or
if you're
just-
18, then go for it.
Or just Amsterdam, like
Well,
a rational.
that's further, though,
calm-
and, like,
well,
harder.
for us,
Yeah.
not for people
That's
in
true.
the sky.
Or in Amsterdam, if you're in
In
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Well,
Anyway, I'm
we
sorry.
had to at least mention that was something you could, for hire, have access to. But I don't think that it's going to make you ultimately happy long term, Jake.
No.
No, but if your goal is just like I'm confused and scared and need to understand what's going on, like there's sex ed resources available to you. Like especially in the day and age of the internet, in which like there's a lot of misinformation about sex out there, and so a lot of organizations are trying to put accurate, helpful information out there. I don't know any of them off the top of my head, but I know that you will find
Scarletine.
Scarletine,
There we go.
.com.
Google that. It'll come up like first few
And
results.
it's really a great resource. And it answers a lot of questions. Ryan, what were you going to say?
I was saying Google your question, and you will find and just make sure you're not on Yahoo Answers. But if you find
can't
what seems
Google
like
that question because your mother's going to check your search history.
incognito,
and-
Command Shift
No,
N.
because Ryan, remember, what you think that they're asking is tell me about vaginas. What they're actually going to type in is how do I touch
No.
the vagina?
And if they put they might give you
Well.
tips, I guess. Then, but if you find a thread that's about how to get to that point and how to advance in emotional in physical intimacy,
You're gonna find a negging website, probably.
It's possible.
which
Joshua.
is awful.
I mean, we're kind of like talking about it over and over. I just moral of the story, like there's a lot of vaginas out there that you don't get to touchy,
Right.
but some you do under consent.
You can't touch 'em all.
That's there.
No. Well,
And
This
the
isn't
story.
Pokemon Go.
Sarah.
Oh, no.
Can we just mention to see? Can someone look up on the internet see how many like
I'm on it.
questions there's been on how searched this?
Nobody
has?
is typing
I'm
that
s-
in
I'm
on
so
my
dumb.
computer.
I'm on my own cell data, so I can. And I'm in. How do I?
Oh my god.
But also,
Your
like,
husband gets-
Oh
can I-
my god.
Hold
What
up.
has the
It's
show
exhausting.
become?
Can I make a
question is
point?
really
instead
Okay,
of-
Jake.
Okay. I think Aaron hit on a really good point where if you're the person to ask a question such as this, the internet might not be a tool you know how to properly use to get an answer that would actually help you to this question. So,
Although Ryan-
yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I'm like
Ryan has an
really
answer.
satisfied by the first result, which is the best way to touch a vagina, Men's Health, which is just like it's just
Wow.
straight up.
But it's
Straight
probably
men's-
like
look at men's
tips, not
health.
like how to touch.
Try these tricks. Yeah. Okay.
Ah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're not on that base yet.
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot of advice. Oh, there's a YouTube video.
Wow.
Wow. MTV has something.
MTV?
But it's like actually on the technique, not like actually just touch. So,
Yeah, we're not going there this year. Wait till
And
or hopefully ever.
but
never.
it,
Yeah, let's
but it's
never.
you know
Let's
it's
never.
a once again the shortest questions are sometimes like just the most interesting because they didn't really see any need for any flowery introduction. They just asked the question which a billion people, maybe 3 billion people are wondering. And so it was a pretty bold question and I appreciate that, Ryan.
Yeah, I think after all the hilarity that ensued the question, I think that I will also say, on top of me advising that you build a relationship with someone in one way or another, everyone ends up with a different experience for the first time. And so you might not be able to predict exactly how it's going to go, and you might not be able to plan it. But one day you'll do it, and you'll be like, "Oh, this is how it happens. That's how it happened for you." And the next time it might be totally different, and so you'll just learn as you go how your own story is being written for that.
Can I just say, like, to the original question, because I'm thinking of like a really concise answer, and I think I got it. You won't if you ask that question. Like, you could, but you probably will have a much harder time if that's the question you're asking. Focus less on that and more on yourself. Like, be the kind of it's weird to say. Be the kind of person that would entice a vagina to be touched. If that makes any sense.
That is so
Wow.
profound.
Can we embroider that into a pillow?
Can that be the next set of journal shirts? Can that be what they all say?
That was-
instead of teens are talking.
And I know that
just-
that's like a really raw thing to say, but like I'm trying to think of like the most concise
No, I
answer
really-
to the question.
I really
touched
like that a lot
on the
because
shirt.
what you're saying is that, and what I want to say is that at 16 it can seem like that's never going to happen, but if you treat women and girls with respect and love and really want to get to know a whole person and are interested in being involved in a very intimate and emotionally strong relationship, you will have that. That will be yours.
Don't change their name in your phone to my bitch.
Don't. Yes, exactly. That will be yours one day, and you'll look back at this and say, oh, "Okay, now I see the pathway."
They'll also want to point out a thing Aaron said a while back. They're like, doing that doesn't just earn you a vagina point. Like, you
No,
don't.
it doesn't. But
Yeah.
generally speaking, people
it's
over the age of
arguably the best path.
It's
to
the best
do that,
path.
but
Best
it's still,
path.
that shouldn't be
People-
your goal.
people over the age of 18 who are in a loving and committed relationship usually have access to each other's private parts. So that's generally speaking, the individual you're dating may say, "I'm not ready for that," but the next girl you date, could be ready for that, and that you kind of have to go about it as if you're interested in a relationship with an entire person, and the vagina is just kind of bonus points that you get. You have to be interested in loving a whole person. Why was that funny, Benji?
I feel like maybe we
Oh,
shouldn't.
she's-
I feel like I think I read lips, and I think we shouldn't announce.
All right, so this has been our most interesting show ever, and you've been our best audience ever. And I want to thank everyone for being here. We will see you next week on Journals Out Loud. Goodbye.
Okay.